Good evening. My name is Franca and I, and I'm here to talk about curriculum plan for English language learners. Like, in our system now, in our society, our demography has changed. We are now a country that has so much English language learners in our midst. And we need to make sure that they are being taught in an appropriate way, the achievement gap is closed, and everybody's learning. So, we have a curriculum plan. As an English language learner, the major thing they need is seeing the big picture. As we plan learning units, it is important to realize that ELL students, they will do better if they can see the big picture. I have a story about when I went to Mexico. As I am from a different culture, but the good thing is my country, my native country, we have English as a second language, a lingua franca. So when I came to the United States, it wasn't a problem for me to understand or write English, but the problem is you have a different accent. So coming from that other country, nobody cares about your accent, and you come into a society where you have a different accent, you have to prove yourself in so many ways. So thinking about those that don't even understand the language, English is their second language. What do we do as educators to make sure that the curriculum plan that we have for these kids will help them to close the achievement gap? When I went to Mexico in 2017 with a group of other educators from Duke University and Durham Public School, when we got to Mexico, we were like fish out of water. We didn't understand anything because we couldn't speak the language, but we had translators helping us. What helped us is what I want us to incorporate in this curriculum units. The big picture, the audio, the video, the technology that shows you, if you can understand this, at least if you see the picture, you can understand what is happening. So I'm looking into the best practices for English language learners. You need to do the focused instruction. I do. You watch, you model, you do the think aloud, you use comprehensive input. There are so many strategies out there. The guided instruction, where they see you doing it, then they watch you do it, and they work with you, they practice with you, then they do it. Then use the repetitive strategy. Then we do what is called collaborative teaching. All these are supposed to be put in your curriculum plan. What is curriculum plan? Curriculum takes content and language and shapes it into plan for how to conduct effective and engaging teaching. If I have a curriculum and it's all about topic and units, it's not a curriculum. So we're going to think about what do we incorporate into this curriculum to help these kids to close the achievement gap. In the curriculum plan, we have a curriculum plan framework for units of study and overview. In this curriculum framework, you're supposed to determine what you want students to know. What is the thing that they should take out of this? As they leave your classroom, as they leave this unit, what are they supposed to have grabbed? We incorporate it into our curriculum plan. The ELL curriculum plan should be correlated with the standards of every state. You don't just give them a curriculum plan that doesn't tie in with what the state is doing. So the curriculum plan has to be tied in, correlated with the state standards. The instructional strategies are adapted as necessary and aligned with ELL proficiency standards. Because as an ELL student, there are proficiency standards. We have different standards. This is beginner, this is a learner, you're improving. This unit has to correlate to close the achievement gap. Then we have the program design. How do you design this program to make sure that ELL students are taken care of? You identify your students and you make sure that as you've identified these students, you identify their needs. I'm a big stickler for differentiated instruction. How do you differentiate? To make sure that an ELL student is not going to be in the classroom setup without understanding what the teacher is saying or doing. We have strategies called think, pair, share. We have so many strategies. You pair them with their peers, the body. They work together. When they work together and is incorporated in the unit plan, the teacher doesn't have to struggle to say, what am I supposed to do for this or that? It's already in the unit plan. So the unit plan is taking care of different aspects of the student's learning. Now, how do we get parents involved? A unit plan that doesn't have any agenda for parents or other teachers is not a unit plan. It's not going to work for ELL students. We have to think about how do we collaborate with the parents, with all the stakeholders. How do we look into how these kids learn? What are we supposed to put in place? All of these make up the curriculum plan. And as the curriculum plan is working with the teachers, other teachers from other units, and parents, administrators, it helps the students. It helps them in a tremendous way because achievement gaps has to be closed. Think about a child that just came in from another country. No knowledge of English at all. Hasn't been in a school that all they use is English. But this child speaks a different language. Is your curriculum plan able to help this child to learn? Is your curriculum plan able to help close the achievement gap? How can you help this child to make sure that all that you have in the curriculum plan are best practices, best strategies that will make them learn and succeed in school? So, as a teacher, think about student engagement strategies. What are the strategies that you will include in your curriculum plan so that everybody that is teaching this unit will know, I need to think about pair body. Let me pair this child with someone else. Reciprocal teaching. Think, pair, share. Formative assessment. How do I know that the child has learned? I have to use my formative assessment strategies. Think about what this child, how do you monitor learning? These are part of the student engagement strategies that must be a part of your curriculum unit. Now, what are the components of the unit overview? Content, content, content. What are the content areas that your unit is covering? How does your unit design tie in with learning for this child? Is this child going to be able to learn in the classroom? What are the requirements to check and see? Now, from here to here, I'm going to assess. What are you assessing? How do you come up with the proficiency level? These are all part of what the curriculum plan will have. Then we have to look at the curriculum unit template. What are the things that should be in the curriculum unit template? Communication, collaboration, main idea. Carefully and constructively look at what you have put in. Be intentional. Think about critical thinking and problem solving. What are the curriculum plan units? The template cannot be empty. What are the essential questions? Very important. It has to be very important because if you don't have essential questions in your curriculum unit, you are not going to know if the student is learning. How do I ensure that ELL students are learning efficiently in the general education classroom? How can I help close the achievement gaps between the ELL students and their native English speakers? How can I encourage multicultural teaching and learning when creating my unit of study? Now, that brings us down to the chunk and chew. Chunk and chew is an outstanding strategy that I'm going to leave with you today. In all situations, discuss ways to develop common planning time, since it is essential to communicate with your goals and objectives. Know your students. Select your focus. chunk. Teach a little, cut it down, chew it, let them chunk it, chew it, chunk it, chew it. That way you know if the student is actually understanding what you're teaching. If we can look into all this and package them together, we'll have a brilliant, beautiful unit plan